hills and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye. Well, they gave me bars, but I can see between to a dusty yard and long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I dry my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shortbangers. I'm Matty. I'm joined tonight by John and by Colin. John, how are you doing?
I'm really good. Had my cyber security exam yesterday. Pretty sure I've passed. So
Can I just stop you there? Nobody's interested about cyber security. just you.
You should all be interested in cyber security. It affects everyone.
I'm only kidding. How'd you get on with your test? And you think you passed?
Aye, really confident that I've passed and pretty confident to get an A. All I needed was the pass for work and future career and academic stuff. But be good to get the A because I put the effort in for it.
Aye, nice one. Fingers crossed for you. How about you, Colin?
I'm alright. I don't think I'm ever going to get away for this chair. I've been sitting here fucking hours and hours a day. I had about an hour's break between work and this. So
didn't let us stop you for standing up and having a stretch.
Hurry up. You've got a life to have. Aye. If you're listening and thinking that we might talk about Lee Johnson getting the Hibs job, we'll cover that on Sunday. Go and listen to Hibs Talk or Down the Slope. They've covered it already, probably better than we will anyway. So go and tune into them. And we'll talk about it on Sunday when we get round to it. We have had some letters from John Daly Thompson as well, the Danish decathlete who didn't get the job. And we'll cover them on Sunday as well. So we'll tell you what he's been saying. Right, we'll get to some questions. I'm going to stick 25 minutes on the clock. First question of this evening comes from TG Willis, who asks, what would you do if folks stopped sending you questions? Would you make things up as they do in Viz and the tabloids?
The tabloids. Very good. We've already started making stuff up, haven't we? Was that a secret? No, I've just blown it. It's not a secret anymore.
For the main one, we do. For Shortbangers, they're all genuine questions in Shortbangers, but Longbangers, we send in fake ones. I think we would make them up, eh?
We would have to make them up. Interestingly, though, I've not told many folk at work because I was a bit nervous about people finding out about it. But people started finding out about it anyway. So I went into work on Monday and I started firing a couple of questions, just the obvious ones, the trope ones that we use all the time, and it's created a whole debate at work. And I was on a managers meeting on, what day is this? It must have been Wednesday. Yesterday, Wednesday, and somebody put that as their highlight of the week was being in the office with me on Monday talking about biscuit tossing. And we're going away thing because we're based all over the country, like team in Sheffield and all that, and Leeds. And talk is like they're going to need. We created. You mentioned that there was a podcast I wasn't on because it was a away day in Sheffield last. It was November time.
Yeah.
And the questions were a bit tame, John. I think you said because I'd sent you a photo of them and that, so they've asked me to help with the questions for the.
Oh, that's right, aye.
So I'll be roping. I'll just be going straight on Twitter and just pulling them off of there. Like, well, the ones that I would want people at work to know that I dabble in.
Just go with no filter with it, Colin. Just go feet in.
But the good news is so it's about department about 30 folk, I think. So there's like everybody's going to have to bring a biscuit because we've got to actually find a place where we can do a biscuit toss.
I honestly find this so funny that there's people that are going to be out there because of our shite chat that are going to be putting thought into which biscuit they could throw the furthest.
Wagon wheel was a big favourite, and I'm going, John's like thinks they're uneven and they're not consistent, but then we get the biscuits again. Folk will be going, stop talking about fucking biscuits.
We'll be getting hungry. It's like you should prepare for it when you listen to Shortbangers. Have a cup of tea and a wee biscuit beside you for when you get hungry with us talking about it. Yeah. As if we started talking about chippies again. Fucking hell, I could do a chippy now. And then before you get it.
Chippy on the way home for the boozer last night. Got myself a mince pie supper. Got the mince pie and a buttered roll. Fucking brilliant.
Do you know, it's something I've never had for the chippy. It's a mince pie. I don't know if I've said this on here before or not, but never ever bought a mince pie at the chippy.
Mind the last time I recommended you get something for the chippy, you told me it was utter shit. It was the spicy jumbo haggis.
I know, but see, I've had that before and I like it. I hadn't had it for a while. And then I went and got one, and it was no good. But that's not your fault.
The mince pie
The
feels
mince-
like it doesn't belong in a chippy road, doesn't it? It's like
Nah.
it's a baker's. You go to baker's for the mince pie.
Aye,
It's no chippy
Did you
fare,
see-
but they're nice when you get them.
never had one. It just feels like it would be awfully greasy. I know that made mad considering a chippy, but it just
Right.
just for the thing, the pastry and that. But did you see the boy on Twitter the other day? I think he owns a chippy or something through Glasgow, and somebody had asked for a deep fried chip roll. I think it was. They'd asked for
Oh,
something,
yeah.
done a chip roll and then put in batter and then
And fried.
looked all right. Like, but I
Sounds
just thought,
decent. Eh?
aye.
It's an
But
awful
then-
lot of layers to get through. Like I could imagine, not necessarily being greasy, but you go for like the crunch to the soft through to the tatty. Like that just.
Can imagine
I'm
a
a-
burnt roof of the mouth on that one. Is that most burnt out like bit?
Aye, because there'll just be like some wee pocket of hot oil hidden within the folds of the roll in the batter that'll just burn the mouth off you.
Sounds good though.
That's
But you need to
that's
put the salt and sauce on the batter or salt and sauce on the chips before they
I
go
think
in.
I think you'd double dip. I think there'd maybe be an option.
Can you imagine?
Fucking hell.
See, when you said double dip, I started getting on board because it made me think of, like, you ever seen like the triple cooked chips? They're pretty good.
I always think that's too much. They didn't need to be triple cooked.
You're more of a double cooked man.
Aye.
We've spoken about that before, definitely. We're just going over all things here. Just answer
Aye.
TG's question, eh? We just cover the same old shite. in just
Aye.
different
We
Aye,
just
it's
talk
like
about
when
biscuits.
it's like in sitcoms where they do flashbacks to previous episodes. That's what this entire bit has been about.
We've turned into Family Guy.
Aye.
I think we would watch Old Shooting Stars. That's probably what I would do. If the questions dried up completely, we would just go back and watch Old Shooting Stars and just fucking take loads of notes. See
That
which
was
ones
funny.
wouldn't they get us
Aye.
cancelled now if I asked them.
Oh, there'll be a lot of them that go by the wayside. That the other night when you started firing in the Jeremy Irons and Ravi Burns, Charlie Irons coaches, and that she was like, no idea what was going on there. Eh? But she's seen Shooting Stars, she says. That was mad.
Aye. I couldn't get started Shooting Stars. I just sit chuckling the whole way. Right, Jake Gap, our next question. He says, so Aaron Ramsey has effectively cost the Huns 60 million on top of his 2 million wages for a cumulative total of 60 minutes. Is he now the biggest stud in Scottish football? Not that I'm complaining.
Aye. It's been a
Sorry, carry on.
I was just going to say a costly experiment. How much did he say? 60 million?
60 million.
Oh, because did winning the Europa League, did that get you qualification for the Champions League?
Aye,
that's
so
where that comes in. Right.
yeah. Somebody they put on, I can't remember if it was Twitter or one of the WhatsApp groups, that it cost more per touch than Prince Andrew.
Aye.
I'm trying to think, who was the previous record signing in Scotland? Was it Tory Andre Flo? He was a bit of a flop for Rangers, but
Aye.
obviously that was
So
just
he's got-
transfer fees.
But he still scored a lot of goals, didn't he? It wasn't
Yeah.
like he never scored goals. It's just that
I don't know.
They did.
I don't know whether it was. I've got this feeling that he was generally viewed as a bit of a flop, but like you say, like it wasn't for lack of goals.
I don't know if he scored many in Old Firm games in that, and that was kind of what they're judged on. Eh?
Aye.
He was also a bit of he was one of those players that I think it was probably easy to have a crack at because, like, he wasn't the most graceful of footballers, was he? He was a big lanky fella.
But Chris Boyd got away with it. So he never scored in Old Firm games either.
Did he
No.
know?
Didn't they?
No,
Right.
hardly any. Like, he hadn't
Aye,
got
but
a
he
start.
was
Never
he
had
was a
enough.
good blue nose, wasn't
And he says mattresses.
he?
So go easy on him. Ian T asked, do you think that Lionel Blair ever did ask for a Lionel Blair haircut, as in the 90s Harp Lager TV ad?
Aye.
Because
I
what was
doubt
it?
that.
Was he sat in the barber's chair and he goes like, "I want." What was the cat? What was the
Time
line
for
for
a
the
cup of
advert?
sharp pap, was it not? Is that not?
Aye,
Is it not?
but that was the tagline for it. But I sort of vaguely remember the advert, but I can't think exactly what. Because he became famous for the stare, didn't he? Was it a Noel Edmonds thing or something? A Gotcha or Jeremy Beadle or something like that? That he gave the big fucking the eyes to somebody who was winding him up,
Right.
and then
Oh, fuck.
he became
He
famous.
was
for,
famous for Give Us a Clue. That's
Yeah.
what I know him
more famous for that.
from.
Folk forgot about Give Us a Clue.
They never. I never. That was the famous thing. And anyway, I can't remember. I remember the advert, but I can't remember. I don't think he asked for that. No.
Do you think he asked for a Gaza when that was a thing?
Do you think what Lionel Blair or just anybody?
Aye, Lionel Blair.
Maybe they've asked for the Gaza.
Why did
Right,
why
we
did
wanted to
the
have midlife crisis.
Ken what Hibs could probably do with something like that? I know that Shortbangers isn't about Hibs, but bear with me a second because I think it's sort of relevant. But there was a period where it was fashionable, and I think it was on the back of Gaza having dyed his hair blonde, that there was a number of different football teams as a means of team bonding. They all like shaved their hair or dyed it blonde. So I think Romania did it.
Yeah, Romania.
Hibs did it before. Like maybe, like could you imagine Joe Newell come out with like peroxide blonde locks, for example?
Aye, we should do it. I'm all for that. If
I'll do
First
it.
order.
We should all shave your heads.
they should. I'm not getting into a bet like this again. Last time I got into a bet with my hair, I ended up with peroxide blonde. So I'm not doing it again. They should do the colour of the team.
So green hair.
Aye.
Green and white hair. Aye.
So each different team would all have different hair, unless they play the same colours.
Oh, do
obviously,
you mean like so like the Mitre Boss? So each like Hearts, Diet,
Aye.
Motherwell, sort of claret and amber. Aye,
Yeah.
okay. I think
That's
that's a good marketing idea actually. I like that.
Okay, right, moving on. Jay Caldwell, should the Frankfurt Ultras be called Frankfurters? They save letters, time, etc.
Makes sense. It's logical. It's easier. Is it easier to say? Did you find it easier to say there?
No, but you get used to it.
Did you find it harder to say, or just the same?
Frank.
It's only corruption there.
Aye. You said that one or that one. You can never tell the fucking difference, but you feel you have to give an answer. Like that. It's about the same. Like that. Fucking they care what you. And sometimes I think they don't even fucking turn it. You know,
I
like
think they're testing you.
they twist it. They just go like fucking.
But you
same
would
bit.
delay. Like if you were to name me like that, I'm just going to check this daft cunt. You just is it the same? Do you think it's the same? You think it is the fucking same because I've not even changed that.
Aye,
That's what you're thinking, eh? Definitely.
So it's a wee bit clearer. Is it? Aye.
See, the last time I was at the
Aye. If you're an optician, text in 80295 and tell us if you just take the piss out of folk when they do it.
last time I was in the optician getting my eyes tested, they you know how they say like cover one eye. So I actually covered one eye, but I accidentally like pressed my palm into my eyeball. So when I took it away to start reading, like I was like, I'm really sorry, you're gonna have to give me 5 minutes because I'm not blind in this eye, just temporarily.
I've got a nightmare when I go to the opticians. Like it's a fucking. I've got high pressures behind my eyes. Right, I've got thick cornea and all that boring stuff. I've probably mentioned before. And every time I go to Boots to get my eyes tested, they're all running about in a fucking panic because the pressures are higher than the sort of the average. Like, you know, I'm like, just calm the fuck down. Like it's all right. I go to the eye pavilion once a year. They're testing me out. My peripheral vision's fine because it's like a sign of glaucoma and that.
Yeah.
But I'm fine. I've got to sit into that peripheral vision thing for fucking ages. But the
Was
worst
that the wee
part,
thing with the light that sort of
aye, I'm really good at that. Like I'm fucking expert level at that. Completed it. But the actual
got a high score, put my initials in.
I can basically see behind me. My fucking peripheral vision's brilliant. Anyway, but top sportsman and that's what you find. Anyway, the it's that puff test thing. When they do you sit and the fucking blow. I can't do it. I can't keep my eyes open, right? And I stop breathing because I'm concentrating. I have to keep my eye open, and that puts my pressure up higher as well.
Is that another sign of a top athlete? Just like nobody,
Aye.
like, you're not going to trick me.
That doesn't do anything. Anyway, that's just to give you a fright. That's just, it's another one of their piss take contraptions, isn't
What
it?
is eye? So what is the science behind blowing air into your eye? How does that work? It doesn't make any sense to me.
I think can. 80295, folks, if you can.
It's a different one for that.
I feel like it's about
ever considered letting a wee bit of air out your eyes before you go into the optician's call to save yourself the bother?
Often, but not quite worked it out. Try, imagine just squeezing your eye. But it's it's a fucking nightmare. I go down there. I think I've already got myself worked up to thinking, and then as I say, concentrated. I don't know how many times you've sit, but they'll try and do maybe 2 per eye. I can be 6, 7 attempts because my eyes close in and I'm fucking like it's. I just can't like I can't do it.
try not to be a shite bag. That's the approach I
Just
take.
go
I go
that.
in, I'll pretend I'm hard here. Just a bit here and there, innit?
Funny enough, you say that, right? It's a bit here and eye. Instead of that, what they do to me is that they anaesthese my eye and fucking stick something in it. Take
Oh,
a
fuck
proper
that. Oh, man.
reading. That's how to get a proper reading for my pressures.
I can just imagine them sticking in like the wee needle that they use for pumping up balls just to let some pressure out.
You put pump,
Wait
you
there,
get the
wait
back
there,
up
Mr.
again after.
Wilkinson. I'll be back the new with the bike pump.
Put you up to that Tesco machine. Give me the fucking stick it in the 24.
So when you see folk come out with the really bulbous eyes, and you kind of just they've overinflated them. Right. Toronto Hibs asked, who kens more, Patsy Kensett or Ben Kensall?
It's a good question. It's a good question, but it's Ben Kens everything, isn't it? So
Ben knows everything. So it's Ben nails that one.
Patsy knows one specific thing, doesn't she? Like she's really good at whatever it is. If you're asking about that one thing, she kens it.
We should maybe speculate on what it is. Like, what is Patsy Kensett's specialist subject?
Cock.
Sorry, David, rock and roll. But if so,
Oh, you're talking about Patsy Kensett. I'm thinking of what was Bianca's name at EastEnders? What's that?
Patsy Palmer, was she?
That's what I'm like. You're talking about Patsy Kensett. I'm thinking of Patsy Palmer.
Nah, she kens Ricky. Okay, Stephen Bell asked, is a roll on ham with a layer of Philadelphia slabbered on top and also used again as a substitute for butter the best roll ever? He puts answer yes. Is it the best roll of ham in Philadelphia?
Just a bit
Cover it in batter, deep fry it.
Ham and cheese.
Then we're talking.
I'd rather if I was just having a ham and cheese roll, I wouldn't have picked Philadelphia. I don't think I would go for like a.
Again, this is maybe a daft question, but would Philadelphia subjected to heat melt like regular cheese does when it's exposed to heat?
It becomes runnier.
Does it sort of like separate would it get like a bit of liquidiness and then the rest of the Philadelphia? That'd be bogging.
You can use it in pasta and that. You can use Philadelphia.
You can stir it in a pasta sauce, yeah. Cooking tips from us as well.
Does sound like a decent roll.
It sounds like what?
Cheese.
Ham and cheese, but
sounds like a decent roll.
Do you prefer the plain Philadelphia or the Philadelphia with garlic? There's a chocolate one as well, isn't there? So the chili one would be good. I've not tried the chocolate one. I like the sound of that.
No.
Is it garlic or is it? There's a chives one as well, isn't there?
I think there is.
Aye, I like the one with the chives.
Are you thinking of Primula?
Primula. Is Primula still a thing?
Primula's brilliant. Primula on toast. Aye, the tube.
Is that the one in the
cheese?
tube?
Aye.
I mind a boy at work getting that in a Christmas dip. A good 10, 15 years ago, he'd been on and on about it. Somebody and got it for the Christmas dip.
Aye, vintage.
Fucking delighted. He was just almost sitting on his desk like that, just fucking squeezing it in.
I tell you, right, Primula, a packet of Tuck. So a tube of Primula, packet of Tuck crackers, sorted. Lunch of Kings, so it is. All right, Tony Swanson. This is a very food orientated episode tonight. I think folk were hungry when they were asked those questions, or have we turned it into food when it's not really been about food?
Nah, it's probably because they're one after the other as well. Because you're doing them in order there, eh? That'll have triggered a thought. Somebody's sent that in, seen it, and went, "Oh, I'll ask that question about ham and cheese."
You're so wise, Cot. Like I've said this 3 times today, but you're so fucking wise.
just logic is.
And you can see, but are you an owl? You just about talking about your vision and that. Are you actually an owl?
And he's got overinflated eyeballs.
My eyeballs are fine. Aye. Anyway.
Tony Swanson asked, should every disputed goal now be settled by rock, paper, scissors? And will this be utilised by our VAR refs?
Oh, this will be referring to Poaches and McGinn last week. Yeah.
Did you clock that they both came out with scissors, though? It was a draw.
No.
I don't know if they did it like a best of 3 or whatever, but when they did it on the TV, both did scissors.
Did they actually do rock, paper, scissors? Or you wind them up?
No, they actually did it.
Oh, shit, I never saw that.
They both claimed the goal.
We all thought it was just where I was sitting. I sit at that end. Everybody thought it was just McGinn's goal. And then it was after it I realised that Poaches was trying to claim it. When I watched it on TV, it's closer than it looked at the game, though, I've got to say.
Unlucky, Ryan.
McGinn's goal for me.
Jake Gapper asked, when Hibs make a European Football Cup final, what former stars will be wheeled out to tell us to behave ourselves? I like to think Chick Charlie might be one.
Oh, who was the boy that belted Callum Elliott on George Street? We should get him out. Darren McCormack.
Aye.
Yeah.
Gary Deegan, he was another one that had a fight with him. Tam McManus with his pole dancing.
Was it Deacon not get hit though?
Was he not the
No,
one
he
that got
did,
barred by? Was it Martin Scott hit him, or was that?
No,
someone?
that was.
But Martin Scott's a good shout.
Aye, Martin Scott. It was. Boy about the Partick, and he's one of the. Sean Welsh. That's it. It was him
He's
that got
captain.
banned. Aye.
Yeah. He's still
He was,
playing.
he was a good player at Hibs.
What about the Godskalskin? See the keeper, eh?
Aye.
Don't do any drugs.
Aye.
And Graham Stack.
Aye.
That's another one.
Barry Levetti. You could have.
Gary O'Connor.
Yeah. Gary O'Connor's a good show, by the way. I put a wee kind of joke post about that on Facebook, and folk did not like that. Hearts and Rangers fans, they were over it. They came, never mentioned.
Well.
Aye, well, obviously. Never mentioned Rangers in the post at all. Like, obviously, there was a reference to it, but it did trigger folk. So that was an interesting day.
Did you see Harry fed down the slopes?
Aye.
I think it was absolutely wild. It's funny. It was funny, but obviously just caught the imagination. It's like 15,000 likes or more, I think.
Aye, because it went in one of my mates who kind of there's no ball about Hibs or anything like that. They put in a WhatsApp group. I was like, oh, I ken him.
Aye. It was funny.
Aye.
What tweet was this?
He said,
He said something like, Eintracht Frankfurt's biggest game since I started supporting them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really getting nervous now. I'm getting nervous now. It's the biggest game since I started supporting them 13 days ago.
it was a good tweet. Charlie Banks asked, what else do you reckon you could liquidate in 8 minutes? Tub of Philadelphia.
You could definitely do that. You could do most things in 8 minutes. What would it fair in here?
I think Rangers.
Is that what it was? 8 minutes to get the paperwork signed?
I think so. Aye.
You could. I bet most things could be done in 8 minutes. You'd probably be saying what you couldn't do in 8 minutes.
Aye.
Like you couldn't liquidate like a house in 8 minutes.
Well,
But you could probably liquidate most of the things.
so see when we talk about liquidating something, like, are we actually talking about turning it into liquid?
No.
Or are you meaning like in the technical business sense of?
Aye. Because
That's
it's
probably-
liquidising it. You could liquidise it
Oh, okay, aye, right.
or liquidate.
I'm wrong.
So
Well, I
That's
think it'd
it.
be done in 8 minutes.
it's a difficult question, Charlie. We're going to move on because I guess it's hurting all our heads.
It's tough.
This is a difficult one. It's no often we'll get challenged that much by a question, but
Do you
just-
liquidise or liquidate your assets when you're like moving money around? When you're
liq-
pretending that you've got money to move around, you're
Liq-
trying to send a tenner to your mates. Oh, look, mate.
liquidate them.
Aye.
So you will liquidise a packet of strawberries and a banana and that to make a smoothie.
There we're on food again.
Aye, true. Are you looking up, Colin?
I'm looking it up because I think you're right. Because you wouldn't liquidate.
You have a liquidizer, like it's a kitchen appliance.
Aye.
You wouldn't
Is
use
that
that.
just a blender?
Same thing.
Aye.
But you wouldn't use that for your company, would you?
I'm a way to blend my
I
assets.
just brick by brick, fucking try to ram it in. Wait.
Have you ever seen that machine that's like sort of that just basically destroys everything? It's like sort of like two sort of it's two rolls
Aye.
of wheels and it just sort of like grabs it and like sucks it in. Like doesn't matter what it is. Apart from the other day I saw an everlasting gobstopper that just sort of like danced a bit on top of it. Like you're not going to break me.
You would have got broken eventually. Those things are magic. Imagine that was your job, just to like chuck stuff in that all day. That's a good
Pretty
job.
good,
That. Aye.
You'd be what I think there'd be a temptation there. there's like part worry, part temptation that you'd stick your fingers in. Like you'd be fanning about, like what can I break up the day, and then it'd just be you getting pulled in. Aye,
Just bury yourself,
would.
like get closer and closer with stuff.
aye.
Kind of teabag this thing. Christopher Black asked, "What's next up in the People's Behave Yourself bingo?" Or who's next up in the People's Behave Yourself? Did you see there was one that was like, "Hello, it's David Cooper from Beyond the Grave."
Oh, it was just missing the Pope in that. Eh?
See, to be fair, I think it was effective. I think it worked. Like, didn't get me wrong. Like, I know that there was like sort of running battles in the streets, and there was like the typical the furniture, like the pavement furniture was getting thrown about and that. But it wasn't anything like Manchester. So I think there's a lot to be said for getting the ex-pros out.
Aye.
They never got any arrests, I don't think. I think it was just one German guy got arrested. So obviously what?
Boring bastards, eh?
No,
Can't even have a good see since they died, like they've not even able to stage a decent riot.
Disco Stew asked, Russia has said it could nuke the UK with a hypersonic missile in just 200 seconds. If this was the case, what would you do in 3.5 minutes before you disintegrated on the spot?
3.5 minutes? It's not really a lot of time at all, eh?
Depends what you're doing.
Panicking, probably, for some of it.
Would you bother going for a shite? Because you would definitely need
that was
one.
my first thought. I thought, would I go for a shite? Because that's going to be the coroner's problem, eh?
If you went, I don't think the coroner's going to have to worry. Like, there's not going to be anything left for you.
There'll not be.
But so say for argument's sake, you went like you heard the air raid sirens, like that's fucking Russia launched their missiles, fucking dicks. And you went to the toilet for a shite. Would you bother wiping? Because that feels like wasted time in that scenario.
I think if I'd be finished in time, I would just kind of make myself comfortable and just kind of resign myself to my fate. I might do, the boy that was found after the volcano is having a wank.
Oh, yeah.
I might consider trying to make it look like I was doing something that if they found me in a preserved state, they were like, check this, and you would be infamous forever. Like, this
is a really fascinating insight into your psyche, Matty, because your two options in the event of nuclear annihilation are go and sit in the pot or have a wank.
Maybe both, they both.
Or both, aye.
But it'd have to be in a way that you get caught. So it wouldn't just be like a normal wank. It'd have to be like a danger wank anyway, like so that it was proper.
Just try to do it before the bomb lands.
Aye, so might have to set something up in case to prepare it.
Come quick! I've found a nuclear fallout shelter.
I chuck a biscuit. That's what I fucking do. Quickly measuring tape it. Right, that's us out of time for that episode. If you want to hear more of this, we will be recording. Fuck knows why you want to hear more of this, but if you do, we'll have Shortbangers Extra available for subscribers. You go to longbangers.hubwave.net, not Babewave, Hubbabe. What was it?
Hubbabe.
Hubbabe. I had a look, by the way. You can actually buy that.
Can you?
I think, aye, $9.99 a year. Aye, speak of that.
It was a funny tongue twister, really, like to come out with, because it doesn't even exist, which I was glad of, because if I had, that would have been a bit like, well, guess what he does with his spare time, but just
nice. Luckily,
had a nightmare that night, of course, with the fucking Wi-Fi. So I think I was just like, right, let's get this fucking thing finished, and the words just didn't come out.
Aye,
maybe we should buy Hibsbabes.net. And it would just be a website dedicated to pictures of Darren McGregor.
Nah. Hubbabe, we do it like our version of OnlyFans, like what was it, OnlyFannies or OnlyBams or whatever, but we just have folk get pictures of us in our pants.
Our eye fronts.
Our smart pants.
Smart.
Right, thanks for listening. Go and subscribe. You'll hear some more questions and answers very soon. In the meantime, we'll see you later.
Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee.